The world is filled with mysteries, incredible stories, and deep wisdom. Sometimes, a simple yet powerful parable can completely transform our perception of reality, making us see ourselves, our actions, and the world around us in a new light. Each of us experiences moments when we seek answers, when it feels like everything is going wrong, when doubts, fears, and uncertainty paralyze our progress. But it is precisely during these moments that we should pause, take a deep breath, and listen to the wisdom passed down through generations. Today, you will hear a special parable. It will help you find the strength to change your life, see hidden opportunities, and uncover the truth that has always been nearby. The key is to listen attentively and feel it with your heart. Part 1. The Sage and the Water Jug. In a small town nestled among picturesque hills, there lived a young man. His life felt joyless and empty. Days passed monotonously, and a deep weariness accumulated within his soul. He thought a lot about his future, but the more he thought, the more doubts consumed him. Why can't I be happy? Why is it so hard for me to understand what I want? He asked himself daily. The man had heard of a great sage who lived high in the mountains. It was said that the sage knew the answers to all questions, that even rulers sought his advice, and that his words could change the fate of anyone willing to listen. One morning, as the sun began to rise over the horizon, the man decided to embark on a journey. He traversed dense forests, crossed swift rivers, and climbed steep mountain paths. His feet ached with fatigue, but the desire to find answers drove him forward. Finally, after many days of arduous travel, he reached a small hut nestled among the rocks. There, by the fire, sat the old sage. His eyes were deep, as if reflecting eternity itself. The young man approached and, slightly embarrassed, said, "Teacher, I have sought you for a long time. I want to change my life, to be happy and strong, but I don't know what I need to do." The sage looked at him attentively, smiled, and silently rose. He entered his hut and soon returned, holding an old clay jug. The man was puzzled but remained silent. The sage took the jug and began pouring water into it from an old wooden bucket. The water flowed in a steady stream, filling the jug more and more. Finally, when the liquid reached the very brim, the sage looked at the young man and asked, "Tell me, what will happen if I try to pour more water?" The young man shrugged and replied, "The water will spill over. There is no more room." The sage nodded and, looking directly into the young man's eyes, said, "The same is true for your life. It is already full, but with what?" The man pondered. He did not understand where the sage was leading. "Think," the sage continued. "What fills your heart? You say you want to change your life, but is there room for new changes within you?" The young man did not know what to answer. Your heart is already filled with fears, doubts, others' thoughts, and beliefs that prevent you from moving forward. You seek happiness, but it cannot come if there is no room for it in you. The sage took the jug and carefully began pouring the water onto the ground. The young man watched silently as each drop disappeared among the stones. "To fill the jug with clean water, you must first pour out the old," said the sage. He looked at the young man again and added, "If you truly want to change your life, you must first free yourself from everything unnecessary." The young man listened, and these words resonated deeply within him. He realized that all this time he had been like an overfilled jug. His mind and heart were full of fears, uncertainty, and worries about the past, and until he let go of all this, nothing new could enter his life. He bowed to the sage in gratitude. "Now I understand," he said. "This is only the first step," the sage replied, "but it is the most important one." The young man pondered. His journey to change had only just begun. Part 2. The Two Wolves Within You. Deep in the forests, where rivers flow peacefully and the wind gently rustles the treetops, lived an indigenous tribe. Among them was an old chief, a man who had lived a long life and experienced all the joys and trials of fate. He had seen children being born and growing up, young warriors becoming wise leaders, and the world changing. One day, his grandson, a boy with curious eyes and an open heart, approached him. The boy loved listening to his grandfather's stories, for each one contained a great truth. "Grandfather," said the boy, sitting down beside the warm fire, "I often feel like there are two sides within me. One tells me to be kind, to help others, to love the world, but the other sometimes makes me angry, envious, or afraid. Why is this so?" The old man smiled and looked at his grandson with deep affection. "Within every person, there live two wolves," he began his story. The boy leaned forward, listening intently to every word. "One wolf is black. It embodies fear, anger, envy, greed, pride, doubt, and hatred. It tells you that you are not good enough, that the world is unfair, that people around you wish you harm. It fuels resentment and keeps you chained to the past." The boy frowned. "And the other wolf?" the old man continued. "The other wolf is white. It symbolizes love, joy, peace, wisdom, kindness, compassion, and faith in a better future. It tells you that you have the power to change your life, that there is much good around you, and that even in the darkest times, there is light. It teaches you to forgive, to believe in yourself, and not to fear difficulties." The boy pondered and asked, "But which wolf wins?" The old chief looked him straight in the eyes and softly smiled. "The one you feed." Silence fell. The boy gazed at the fire, watching as the tongues of flame danced in the night's darkness. "How can I feed the white wolf?" he asked. The grandfather placed his hand on the boy's shoulder and replied, "Every time you choose love over hatred, faith over fear, kindness over malice, you feed the white wolf. Every time you are grateful for what you have instead of complaining, every time you help others, even with a small act of kindness, your white wolf grows stronger." "But what if I have already fed the black wolf?" the boy asked quietly. The grandfather nodded. "We all feed the black wolf sometimes. The important thing is to recognize it and start changing your actions. The black wolf weakens when you stop giving it power. It exists, but it no longer controls you." The boy slowly nodded. "This means that anyone can become kinder and stronger if they start feeding the white wolf," he said. The old chief smiled. "Exactly. It is a choice you make every day." The boy understood. From then on, whenever anger or fear overwhelmed him, he asked himself, "Which wolf am I feeding right now?" And over time, he learned to make the right choice. Pause for a moment and think, which wolf are you feeding every day? Part 3. The Doors of Opportunity. In a small village surrounded by dense forests and high mountains, there lived a young man named Elias. His heart was filled with doubts and disappointment. He had tried many times to achieve success, attempted various endeavors, but always faced failure. One day, when yet another plan failed, he felt he had no strength left to fight. The world seemed cold and indifferent, and life unfair. He decided to seek the wise elder who lived in the mountains. People said this man knew the answers to all questions. The young man traveled a long journey, and finally found himself before the elder. "Teacher," he began, lowering his head, "I work hard, I strive, I seek my path, but I always encounter obstacles. It seems as though the world has closed all doors before me. I am exhausted." The elder looked at him attentively and silently rose. "Follow me," he said. The young man, not understanding what to expect, followed. They walked through the long corridors of an ancient temple until they stopped before a great wall adorned with countless doors. Some were old, others new. Some appeared sturdy, while others barely hung on their hinges. The elder stretched out his hand toward the doors and calmly said, "Open any of them." The young man took a few steps forward and chose the first doors that seemed sturdiest. He pulled on the handle, but the doors did not budge. He tried again, but they were locked. Then he approached others and tried again, to no avail. The third doors also did not open. The young man sighed and turned back to the elder. "None of them open," he said in disappointment. The elder looked at him and asked, "Did you try them all?" The young man paused for a moment. Then he shook his head. "No," he admitted, "but I no longer see the point. I tried, and they are locked." The elder smiled and calmly said, "That is how most people feel. They try 1 or 2 opportunities, and when they encounter failure, they give up. But you have not even tried all the doors that are still unopened." The young man was silent. The elder continued, "The true key to success is not to fear opening new doors in life. You will always encounter rejections, difficulties, mistakes, but if you stop after every failure, you will remain standing still." The young man looked at the wall again. "But what if none of the doors open?" he asked. The elder nodded. "Then make your own doors." These words echoed in the silence, like the reverberation of a truth the young man had been seeking all his life. He understood that the problem was not that the doors were locked, but that he had given up too soon. The young man took a deep breath, turned back to the wall, and began trying new doors. He knew that if he did not find any open, he would create his own. Pause for a moment and think, how many doors have you already opened, and how many are still waiting for you? Part 4. The Stone on the Road. In an ancient kingdom, there ruled a wise and kind king. He always cared for his people and wanted to teach them an important lesson. One day, he ordered his servants to place a huge stone in the middle of the main road leading to the city. Afterward, he hid nearby to watch how people would react. The first to pass were merchants. They saw the stone, stopped, and began to complain. "Who is responsible for this road? Why doesn't anyone remove such obstacles?" They grumbled, but none of them attempted to move the stone. They walked around it and continued on their way, still complaining. Then soldiers came. They too stopped, looked at the stone, discussed how large and heavy it was, and decided it was not their responsibility to move it. Much time passed, and no one even attempted to remove the stone. Finally, a poor peasant came along. He was carrying a sack of grain on his back, and the burden was heavy. But when he saw the stone, he stopped. He set down his sack, approached the stone, and tried to move it. The stone was large and heavy, but the peasant did not give up. He exerted all his strength, and eventually he managed to push it aside. When he returned to his sack, he saw that underneath the stone lay a purse filled with gold coins and a note from the king. "Whoever removes this stone will find a reward, not only in gold, but in life's wisdom." Every obstacle is an opportunity to become stronger and discover something valuable. The peasant smiled, took the purse, and continued on his way. understanding that this day had changed his life forever. Pause for a moment and think. What stones lie on your path? Do you walk around them or remove them? This story teaches us that difficulties are not just obstacles. They are opportunities for growth. They may hide valuable lessons, new opportunities, and even rewards that we do not suspect. Now ask yourself, are you ready to change your life? True change always begins from within. Our lives are a reflection of our thoughts, choices, and beliefs. If you want to become happier, stronger, and more confident, you must first clear your mind of fears and doubts. Rid yourself of everything unnecessary that holds you back, and allow yourself to move forward. Every day, you make a choice: to feed the white wolf or the black wolf. Every action either strengthens your power or takes it away. Ask yourself, which wolf are you nurturing in your heart? And when doors close before you, remember, there are countless others. Try again, seek new opportunities, or create your own path. And now, pause and think. Which of these stories will change your life? If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. See you next time.